A transversal is a line that intersects two or more lines. We have here line A and line B being intersected by line C. Therefore, C is the transversal of lines A and B. When that happens, two groups of angles are formed. There's an angle group formed when line A crosses line C, including angles 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then there's another angle group formed when line B crosses line C that includes angles 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now the angle numbers are just arbitrarily chosen. Don't memorize that 5, 6, 7, and 8, for example, will always be in the same group. That's not going to be the case. Now here I have also colored this portion here as green and this is red just to help us to see it. The angles that show up between these two lines are going to be interior angles. Between lines A and B, we have angles 3, 4, 5, and 6. That'll be useful information for us real soon. And then those in the green section that are not between the two lines, not between lines A and B, are angles 1, 2, 7, and 8. Those are called exterior angles. Well, we have 5 important labels that we can give angles depending on where they're located. Let's start with the first one. Angles that are interior but that fall on opposite sides or alternate sides of the transversal are called alternate interior. An example of that would be angle 4 and angle 5, and also angle 3 and angle 6. So I'll just list that. 3 and 6, 4 and 5. Now you might be wondering why I didn't choose 3 and 4, because what I said, they're interior and opposite sides of the transversal. That's true for that angle pair, but 3 and 4 are in the same angle group, as well as 5 and 6 are in the same angle group. These new designations are for angles in different angle groups. Well, alternate exterior is a lot like alternate interior, except you're talking about exterior angles. An example would be 2 and 7, and another would be 1 and 8. Corresponding angles are angles that are essentially in the same position in their group, but that way of describing it can leave you a little bit lacking in certain situations. So this is a little bit more of the information that you need to know. One of them is interior, one of them is exterior, and they're on the same side of the transversal. That's true for 1 and 6, 2 and 5, 3 and 8, and 4 and 7. Then we have the same side angles. We have same side interior, same side meaning the same side of the transversal. That would be 3 and 5, or 4 and 6, and of course same side exterior. That would be 1 and 7, or 2 and 8. Now, same side exterior is not a label that I've seen used everywhere. Some people don't use it. Some textbooks and videos and websites don't use that, but I have seen it used more often than it's not used. There's also another distinction that people make. They call them consecutive interior. If you are looking in this group of angles on the interior and you went around, kind of around in a circle with those, which ones would come one right after the other? Well, 6 and 4, then 4 and 3, then 3 and 5, then 5 and 6. Those are considered consecutive interior angles. And like I said with same side exterior, that's used with some textbooks and some teachers like to use that designation, but not everywhere. As a matter of fact, I don't see it as often anymore. It used to be used more often. Well, let's look at an example where we're going to take a diagram and look at some angle pairs and decide what's the transversal and what's the label that goes with it. We have in this diagram 4 lines. We have line F, line G, line D, and line E. Since we have more than 3 lines, it's going to be important for us to be able to distinguish what the transversal is. So I wouldn't use anything fancy. I would just keep it really simple by using a piece of paper to cover up angle groups that aren't involved with the pair you're talking about. Starting with angle 1 and angle 4. Angle 1 is in this group. Angle 4 is in this group. So we don't actually use anything from these 2 groups. So you can just cover them up. It's easy to see at this point, a simplified version of the diagram, that you have these 2 lines being crossed by line F. So line F is the transversal in that case. Angle 1 and 4 are on different sides of that transversal, and neither one of them is between these 2 lines, so they're exterior angles. So that would make them alternate exterior. I'm going to abbreviate these labels. All right, question 2. Angle 2 and angle 13. 2 is in this group, 13 is in this group. So these groups over here don't have anything to do with that pair. These 2 lines are being crossed by line D, so D is the transversal. 2 is between these 2 lines, 13 is as well, so they're interior angles. And they're on the same side of this transversal, so we say same side interior. Our third pairing, angle 6 and angle 7. 6 is in this group, 7 is in this group, so we can cover up these 2 groups. These 2 lines are being crossed by line G, so G is the transversal. 6 is between the 2 lines, and so is 7, so they're interior angles, but they're on opposite sides of the transversal, so they're alternate interior. Our fourth pairing, angle 6 and angle 1. 6 is in this group, 1 is in this group. We can cover up those. These 2 lines are being crossed by line D. D is the transversal. 6 is not between these 2 lines, neither is 1, so they're exterior angles, but they're on different sides of the transversal, so they're alternate exterior angles. Then we have a few that might get us thinking a little extra. We've got angle 16 and angle 15. Now angle 16 and 15 are in the same group. We can cover up everything that doesn't apply, and we see we only have one group. So since we don't have one line crossing at least 2 others to form the group or groups that the pair is in, then we don't have a transversal. In this case, we have to put none. No transversal. But we do have a label we can give them. 16 and 15 are vertical angles, so we can still give them that label. If it had been 16 and 7, we would have said linear pair over here. Sometimes those are not given as options in some of your sets of instructions. If that happens, then you would have to put none over here if it's not an option. In example 6, we have angle 14 and angle 3. This also is a little bit of an unusual pairing because we don't use this group and we don't use this group. But in order to form these angle pairs, we needed these 2 lines to form angle 14, and we needed 2 different lines to form angle 3. We actually used 4 different lines, so there's no transversal in this case. But since they're in different groups without a transversal, we don't have a special label to give them either, so there's no label. Our final one, angle 15 and 3. Angle 15 is here, and 3 is here. We're not using these groups. These two lines are being crossed by line E, so E is the transversal. But we've got an interesting situation that happens here. Angle 3 is an exterior angle. Angle 15 is an interior angle. But they're on different sides of the transversal, and we don't have a label that fits that description. So we have to put none for that group as well, or that pairing as well.